Old quarter-dollar value. What if the quarter you've seen your entire life was secretly worth up to $8 million? The 1974 quarter dollar has always been treated as ordinary change. No dramatic redesign. No sudden headlines. Just another coin people spent without a second thought. Gas stations. Vending machines. Coffee counters across America, and that's exactly how it disappeared into history. But decades later, collectors began to notice something strange. Certain 1974 quarters didn't behave like the others. Tiny differences. Unusual characteristics. Details so small that only careful eyes ever noticed them. At first, the idea sounded impossible. How could a coin remembered by millions suddenly carry extreme value? But coin history is full of surprises today. A very limited number of 1974 quarter dollars are being quietly discussed among advanced collectors, with some examples linked to valuations, reaching millions of dollars under specific conditions. And here's the most shocking part. Many of these coins were never pulled from circulation. They were spent, saved by accident, left behind in jars, drawers, and old collections. Which means one thing. Someone watching this video right now could already own one, on old quarter-dollar value. We don't chase hype. We uncover stories that were overlooked in this episode. We're breaking down the mystery of the 1974 quarter dollar, why collectors are paying attention now. What separates an ordinary quarter from a serious discovery, and how history can hide in plain sight. So don't scroll away. Don't assume it's just spare change, because sometimes the most valuable coins are the ones nobody ever questioned. Welcome to Old Quarter Dollar Value, where everyday change reveals extraordinary secrets. As the story of the 1974 quarter dollar continues, the picture becomes more complex and far more interesting. On paper, 1974 was a routine year. Millions of quarters were struck, released, and spent. There were no public alerts, no special announcements, no warnings to collectors. To the average American, every 1974 quarter looked exactly the same. But collectors know something most people don't. Coins are not just dates and designs. They are the product of machines. Pressure, metal, and timing. And timing, especially, can change everything. During the early 1970s, U.S. mint facilities were undergoing subtle but important adjustments. Equipment was aging. Dies were pushed longer than ideal. Small changes were made quickly to maintain production speed. Not every adjustment was carefully documented for the future. This is where the mystery begins. Careful examination of certain 1974 quarter dollars has revealed differences that don't match normal circulation wear. Variations in strike sharpness. Unusual surface texture. Details that appear too consistent to be random damage. These coins don't stand out at first glance. That's what makes them dangerous to overlook. Collectors who compare dozens, sometimes hundreds of 1974 quarters side by side begin to notice patterns. And in numismatics, patterns matter. A repeated feature across unrelated coins suggests origin, not coincidence. Some experts believe a very limited number of quarters were struck during short transitional moments, when dies were changed, recalibrated, or briefly misaligned before being corrected. Coins from these moments were never meant to be separated or saved. They entered circulation quietly. Most were lost forever, but a few survived. Those surviving examples, especially in exceptional condition, are what fuel discussions of extraordinary valuations, not because every 1974 quarter is rare, but because the right one represents a moment in minting history that was never supposed to be noticed. This is how modern coin legends are born, not through myths, but through silence, repetition, and physical evidence. And the deeper collectors dig, the clearer one thing becomes. The story of the 1974 quarter dollar is not finished, because until every surviving example is identified, studied, and verified, the question remains open. How many are still out there? And how many people have already held one, without ever knowing what it was worth? As the investigation into the 1974 quarter dollar reaches its deepest point, the conversation among experts becomes sharply divided. At this stage, No one is arguing that unusual examples exist. They do. The real argument is far more unsettling. Why do these coins exist at all? And why was nothing ever officially recorded? One group of senior numismatists believes the answer lies in quiet transitional activity inside. U.S. mint facilities during the mid-1970s. Equipment was aging. Dies were being extended beyond ideal limits. Production pressure was constant. When problems appeared, solutions were often immediate, not ceremonial. According to this view, a very small number of 1974 quarters were struck during brief moments when die alignment, pressure, or surface preparation was temporarily outside normal tolerances. These were not dramatic mint errors. They were silent anomalies, precise enough to pass circulation. It's different enough to leave a fingerprint. Coins like this don't get separated. They don't get documented. They disappear into circulation. Another group of experts strongly disagrees. They warn that modern-era coins are frequently overinterpreted. Without written mint records, they argue, extreme valuations should be treated with caution. Similar-looking traits can appear through coincidence, late-stage die wear, or post-mint handling. From this perspective, rarity must be proven beyond pattern recognition, and then there's the third position, the one that refuses to disappear, independent. Examiners working across different regions have identified the same characteristics appearing on coins found decades apart from unrelated sources with no shared handling history. The placement, depth, and structure of these features repeat with precision in numismatics. Repetition is powerful. It suggests origin, not accident. This has led some researchers to quietly propose a controversial idea that a very short, undocumented strike window occurred in 1974, possibly during tooling changes or experimental calibration, producing a micropopulation of quarters, never intended for special release. If this theory is correct, it explains everything. Why the coins look ordinary, why official records are silent, why most were lost forever, and why the few surviving examples, when preserved in exceptional condition, ignite discussions reaching multi-million-dollar territory. This is not hype. It is how history behaves when it was never meant to be seen. Today, the 1974 quarter dollar sits at the edge of certainty. Skeptics demand documentation. Researchers continue comparing physical evidence. Collectors quietly watch and wait, because in coin history, the most valuable discoveries often begin with doubt. Somewhere a quarter rests unnoticed, not labeled, not celebrated, and when it is finally understood, it may change everything we thought we knew about 1974 and now. As this investigation comes to a quiet close, take a moment and really let this sink in. A single quarter, something most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground. And yet, the 1974 quarter dollar reminds us of an uncomfortable truth. History doesn't always look important when it happens. Sometimes it hides silently inside ordinary things. For decades, these quarters moved freely through America. Spent without thought, saved without intention, forgotten without question, and today, we're realizing that a few of them may represent something extraordinary. This is how real discoveries happen. Not with announcements, not with guarantees, but with curiosity. At Old Quarter Dollar Value, we don't promise miracles. We open doors. We ask questions before the crowd does. And we give everyday people the chance to be early, not late. So here's what matters now. If you own 1974 quarter dollars, don't rush. Don't panic. But don't ignore them either. Examine them carefully. Compare them thoughtfully. And if you believe you may have something unusual, something that aligns with what we've explored, your next step matters. Leave a comment below. Your comment is more than engagement. It's a signal. Serious buyers and collectors follow these discussions closely. The right coin, properly verified. Doesn't chase attention? Attention finds it. And if you want to stay connected to opportunities like this before they become headlines, subscribe to Old Quarter Dollar Value, turn on notifications, like this video to support future investigations. Share it with someone who keeps old coins because one share can spark a discovery. Remember this? Most people spend history without ever realizing it. A few notice it, and even fewer act at the right moment. The question is simple. Will you? This is old $quarter value, where overlooked change becomes serious conversation. We'll see you in the next investigation. And with that, our journey into the 1974 quarter dollar comes to an end. Whether this coin turns out to be rare, historic, or simply fascinating, one thing is certain: it reminds us to look closer at the world around us. Value often hides where no one expects it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being curious. And thank you for being part of this growing community. This is Old Quarter Dollar Value, where every coin has a story. Until next time, keep collecting, keep learning, and enjoy the hunt.